All right, Scouter Report Podcast, episode 15. Alex Logston, Bubble Boy to the max, Russell Stelzer, the Hat, special guest, Joey Paladino, Cross Worlds TCGs. Oh, I fucked that up. What up, Joey? For those of you that don't know Joey, he runs Cross Worlds TCG, the YouTube channel, the only award-winning YouTube Dragon Ball YouTube channel.
The one and only.
Content Creator of the Year at the Dalen Mac Tournament Power, voted by the community. Much big ups.
Got the pedigree.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. And the fact that you guys are doing a podcast, like something that people ask for a lot, like people have done it, but no one's been consistent. So the fact that you guys are on episode 15 is so awesome to see.
Thank you. All right, so what did we say before? This is the second time we're recording, by the way. We screwed up.
Yeah, we did.
Screwed up.
You guys missed
I gotta
it.
remember what I said.
I had this like long list of like good things I was just saying about my good friend and teammate Joey Paladino.
I know what we're saying. Congratulations on hitting
them. I'll be happy to hear it.
Congratulations on hitting 5,000 either today or yesterday or whenever it was.
Yep, today. Day of recording. Thank you very much.
Which is astounding. The speed in which you've done that is impressive. And I know I do all the work on the channel, so I know how hard it is to maintain that and keep it up. And you are definitely the highest producing as far as I can tell. I think Android and Eggman kind of super plays too. They keep up with you in terms of number of videos released, but I think in terms of quality and content density of information, you're killing it.
If you take in YouTube and Patreon and how much this dude contributes to like our team chats on Shenron's Lair, there's not a single person in this community more dedicated to this game than Joey Paladino.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. You know what the big production change for me was? I used to just take like a bunch of cards, put them on Shenron's Lair, and then just like hit record, talk about them, and then I started using Google Slideshow, so like my production value just like shot way up.
So I should use PowerPoint, dude. Come on.
Dude, I gotta use the easy one.
The free one.
Yeah, the free one. Come on.
All right. What do I want to ask you? So we wanted to hear a little bit about your backstory, where you came from. I know from watching your videos, you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about, the roots?
Yeah, sure. So as a kid, played card games, played Yu-Gi-Oh mostly. All my friends, like my neighborhood, played. We played on like the playground at school and stuff. And then I just never grew out of it. I remember my cousins always yelling at me. Like my cousins are probably like 5-7 years older than me. They're like, when are you gonna stop playing cards? When are you gonna sell all your stuff? When are you gonna grow out of it? Yada yada. I just never grew out of it, right? So went to my first Yu-Gi-Oh locals in high school, got absolutely destroyed. Then I went from New Jersey to Boston for college. Started going to Boston locals, started taking the game a little bit more seriously. As time went on, I just wasn't really happy with Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I found Dragon Ball. I actually went to my local game store with my best friend, and we saw the packs for Dragon Ball. This was during set 2, so yeah, the game was like brand new. And a lot of times Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will use other cards from other games as tokens, and Dragon Ball, the cards look dope. So we just got some random packs for that reason. I pulled the SS2 Trunks Hope at Hand, I think is the 6-drop 30K from set 2,
with the sword.
Yeah, with the sword.
Still one of the best card arts in the game.
I like it.
Yeah, seriously. I saw that card and I was like, okay, I need to learn how to play this game. So we went home that day, we learned how to play, and then from there I really got into it, man, and it's been history ever since.
Cool. So what do you think that separates DBS from Yu-Gi-Oh? Is there anything that you like more about it, like less? Like what's the reason why it's really stuck with you?
So we have our Boston local group. We're pretty tight knit, and we just got this new guy. His name's Ivan. Shout out to you, Ivan, if you're listening to this. But yeah, so he's just kind of converted. He still plays Yu-Gi-Oh, but he's kind of just got into Dragon Ball, right? So we were just talking about this, and I feel like a really big difference between like Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball. I can only really speak to Yu-Gi-Oh because I don't really know Magic or Pokemon like that. But I feel like a really big difference in Dragon Ball is like player preference means everything. Like I can think of an example with Russell, for example, like the guys on the team for the Dalen Mac TOP, they didn't like the Broly arrival in Jiren. Russell thought it was really, really good. You know what I mean? And that player preference in your deck techs and the way you play a certain deck. Like people played Storm back in the day. Some people played combo to play Gohan to be defensive. Some people played Unbreakable Goku. Some people played straight gas, and it works for them. You know what I mean? I feel like player preference in Dragon Ball just makes all the difference.
I agree.
As opposed to Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's a little more like this formula is correct. Play this.
Yep, it's all a numbers game in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh. The cards are too small for me to want to get into
for
that.
ants.
So
when did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Like what set?
So I got into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Alliance when Shadal's, Burning Abyss, Necroz, that was like the triangle format.
Mm-hmm. Making me feel like an old man.
See, because for me coming into Dragon Ball was I had just moved to finish school in a smaller city in Washington, and I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time, and then I actually had this transition to like Pokemon. But I came into locals, and some of my friends were playing with like the starter decks and some packs that they bought of Dragon Ball, and I didn't even know it was a card game, but apparently it had just come out that day, and they're like, you should give it a try. I remember playing a few games with it, and it reminded me so much of like the olden days of Yu-Gi-Oh, where everything was more like a battle of resources instead of just like all these like combos and whatnot, and it was just kind of like who could best manage their resources and whittle their opponent down. And that, like, just that mindset is what immediately drew me into Dragon Ball.
Dude, 110%. Like, Set 2 Soul Striker mirrors are GOAT format games. Like, that's the equivalent for me. It's so cool. And the way the game has changed now, it's like very different. Like, tempo is way more important than resource management. Maybe not more important, but it's definitely become more important as a concept. But yeah, like Set 2 Soul Striker mirrors, that's GOATs.
Yep, that's complete GOATs. That's what I was going to say drew me to the game in the first place. Set 1, 2 is I just play a game and it was like, this is GOATs. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. And I was like, I got to play this game. So yeah, that's how I got into DBS. But yeah,
I don't have a fancy love story.
This is John's first card game.
This is the only card game I've ever played besides stupid Chrono Cross and like
Chrono Clash,
whatever it's the game, whatever that stupid game is.
No, My Hero's coming out.
Yeah, doesn't mean the game's good.
I'm buying
it. It's a fun side game.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But no, I got into it because Phil was like, "Yo, we should like hang out and play these games because I'm into card games." So I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll buy some. This looks fun." And then they all ditch me and don't play.
Yep, you're the last survivor.
But dude,
and it got me
so
hooked.
Awesome, though. Like I keep hearing about how people's first card game is Dragon Ball Super, and of course it's partially the IP, but like it's just so cool to see how many new people are playing this game and like really enjoying it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty cool.
So what sparked you to start up your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so okay, I went to college in Boston from Jersey, but I did a year in California, in Chico, California, which is like a kind of a city that not many people know about when you think about like San Francisco and Sacramento, whatever. But I went to school there for a year, and that's where I like really got into the game. Like that was right when Set 3 came out, and I got a lot of my friends over there to get into it while I was like playing on Untapped with my friends back home to get them into it. So I was like really pushing the game in like 2 different local areas. And yeah, so I was playing with my friends in Cali, and actually I met Marcus and the guys at Shenron's Lair. I went 4 hours by myself to a Fresno tournament just because I wanted to play so bad. Like, and that's where I met them and like hooked up with Marcus and like met them and stuff. That was awesome. And yeah, so I went to the San Jose Regional with my Mecha Frieza Apes deck. And like just thinking back, like what I knew about the game then and what I know about the game now, like I was such a scrub. Like it was actually ridiculous how much of a scrub I was. But anyways, somehow I managed to make top 32.
You were at San Jose?
Yeah, I went to San Jose Regional. Somehow made top 32. But yeah, this is before I had the YouTube channel, before I had anything. So total nobody.
Biggest scrub.
Total scrub.
Did you lose in top 32?
Let me tell you the one deck. Let me tell you the one deck I lost to in Swiss. I lost to Dr. Mew Chain Zeno in Swiss.
Hey,
Oh,
who was playing that? I remember seeing that.
That
on
was
stream.
somebody from like Bearded, wasn't it?
It was somebody from Bearded. Yeah, I don't think he plays anymore, but it was somebody from Bearded. And I lost to it because I didn't respect it as a deck, and that was like that was my immediate lesson. Like, okay, you respect every deck you play against, because I beat all the Mecha Mirrors, all the SS3s, but like yeah, I lost to Mew Chain Zeno, which was so funny.
What was your record at the end of Swiss?
I don't remember. I think it was like X1-2 or X1-1, because I'm pretty sure my only loss was Mew. And then I might have drawn once or twice.
This is the only game that's taught me to like respect everything. What you're playing against when you sit down.
I always every time I go to one of these big tournaments, I swear to God, in the first and second round, I just play the most random shit that like sit down and you're like, oh God, what do I do? Oh, I might lose to this because I don't understand what they're doing.
Well, that same turn at San Jose, my very first round, I was playing Mecha Apes. My very first round, I drew with like Golden Frieza. I did not expect to play that deck. We went into game 3, and this guy sided in like 12 negates. And it was literally, we go into time, and he just like, I kid you not, his entire hand was nothing but negates. In my last turn, I probably had who knows how many attacks, and this dude just like negated everything. He even put in like the terrible like times judgment negate that you like discard to grab it back. He had that in there, and he literally like discarded his entire hand just so we like drew.
I run 18 negates.
But then I rattle off like 7 mirror matches in a row and just like win them all.
T-shirt available on the merch store. I run 18 negates.
Yeah.
Is a thing.
It was nuts.
Your guys' merch looks dope, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. You can't see it right now, but we have the foil playmat in front of us that you'll be able to see on the video. It's pretty sick.
It looks amazing.
That's just us spending money we shouldn't be spending on stupid shit we don't need.
I need that.
Yeah.
I need
That's just
that.
us
Stupid
getting
stuff's the best stuff, dude.
It's a problem. But it does look sick. Very happy with it.
But yeah, so just going back to that real quick, I somehow managed to get top 32, and then I was just kind of just like I mained 3 Zarbon in the deck, so like it was like a kind of a tech that some people were playing, but like I main deck 3 of them and thought it was broken. So I was like, oh, I have some cool ideas. I have some like random deck ideas. Let me just start uploading them to YouTube. Like I uploaded like a Kid Goku Veggies deck after like Mecha Frieza kind of got errated and stuff. So I just had like really cool deck ideas that I thought were cool and wanted to upload them and whatnot. And I stayed consistent with it. And yeah, the fact that I'm a student, like it's been a good part-time job in that sense. Like I have the time to allocate to it, you know? And I can work when I'm free. And that's how I've been able to stay consistent. And I do have a passion for it. So it's been definitely helpful to have a passion for it in terms of staying consistent.
Yeah, it's paying off. So what does like typical day look like for you in terms of a schedule?
Oh, actually, now school's closed because of
a month ago. Like with school, how much time are you spending on like it's just I can't even imagine it. Like I do maybe like maximum 3 videos a week, sometimes 4 if it's super easy.
Yeah, pre-corona.
Yeah. It's like how much time are you spending, and like what's like you staying up super late to do it, or what's your deal?
No, so usually I stay up super late to play League, but during the regular hours, I do put a lot of work into it. So
Gross.
I try and upload 6 videos a week. I do 2 Patreon articles a week on top of like whatever else, like, you know, testing with the team and trying to like craft deck ideas and whatnot. Like I really just do enjoy the game that much, so I put a lot of time into it. Yeah, so I probably spend a lot of I try and make videos every day. I try and like, you know, make them ahead of time so I can upload them throughout the week and then go to school, do my thing. But actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, you know, I'm not a great role model, but sometimes I'm sitting in class like writing a Patreon article when I know this stuff's like super easy. All I have to do is, you know, exist in the classroom and I'll do fine. So I'll just like write some articles there and stuff. So I try and fit it in where I can, you know what I mean? But
at least you're going to the class. That's better than I ended up doing.
I remember there was one college class I had where it was like everybody took this course because you were like guaranteed an A. You never had to show up and you guarantee an A.
Absolutely.
But I made a bet with a friend that I could show up for every single one, every lecture for that entire quarter. We made that bet on the first day, and I never showed up for another class that entire quarter.
Oh my god!
And your grade was
100%.
That's broken. That's broken.
Oh, college.
Attacking for
That's tier 1. That's tier 1.
What a day. What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for social psychology with minors in philosophy and creative writing.
All right.
Hey.
Makes sense.
Oh,
that's cool.
Interesting.
What do you want to What do you want to do?
What I want to do? I never truly discovered that. I still haven't really discovered it, and I'm about to graduate, which is pretty terrifying. But I went to school for health science, thought I wanted to be a physical therapist / owning like a gym because I was really into sports in high school and still kind of am, but my life direction just like completely changed like halfway through college. Ended up changing my major, picked psychology because it was interesting and it's pretty broad and like widely applicable.
Yep.
But after I graduate, I'm just gonna see what I can do in terms of like a full-time job and still want the YouTube thing to keep going afterwards and stick with Dragon Ball.
And who knows? Maybe the game will blow up and make it a full-time gig, right?
That would be pretty sick.
Or half and half anyways. Be pretty sweet.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel so we can make that happen, guys.
That's right. Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that button.
The amount of times I've heard that.
It's a meme, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's definitely a meme.
I try to avoid the cringy stuff on YouTube, like
you're the
cringy stuff.
You're the complete opposite
like,
of us. Then.
If I try to do it, I just cringe at myself and it just doesn't come out good.
Oh, we're all about the cringe here on Scatter Report. We feed off of it.
We need to make another sketch video.
We do.
Like the how to play.
That video was gold.
It's been enough time. We could probably come up with
I feel like we already hit like the top though with that. You know,
we
it was
can
like
figure something out.
There's nothing there. I mean, there's good stuff. There's good content out there to feed off of, but that was prime.
We got to go beyond.
Yeah, plus ultra.
It's got to be over 9,000.
All right. So what's the future for Cross Worlds look like? What do you is there any plans to change anything up or expand or? I mean, obviously,
I wouldn't say so. So I am a member of Shenron's Lair, so there's never been like any type of, and even before I was in Shenron's Lair, like there was never any real talk of like making a team out of it. I'm really happy on Shenron's Lair, so it's always kind of just been a channel. Really, I think it's gonna stay that way. The Patreon's doing good, so I think I'm gonna keep that where it is. I definitely don't want to do like a majority of stuff paywalled because I don't think that's right for one, and for two, people would be pretty upset about that. So I think I want to keep the method the same and just try to do what I can to create new video ideas and just let the channel grow organically as much as I can.
Cool. Mm-hmm. This is a selfish question. What do you think has set your channel apart from all the other channels that like your speed of growth compared? I mean, obviously you're uploading like 6 days a week, which is probably a big factor in the way YouTube behaves. But what do you think sets your channel apart from the others? That like what could prospective, someone just starting out on YouTube, what advice would you give to them to see the kind of success you've seen?
Yeah, I definitely get this question a lot too. So I looked into it a lot, like how YouTubers were so successful and what kind of methods you can do to get started on YouTube, because we're in a niche game, right? So the growth rate can only be so much. Yeah. But at the same time, there are certain things you can do, certain practices where you can make that to your benefit. And one of the number one things is consistency. Like it is the YouTube algorithm monster. Like you do have to feed it in a certain sense, like being consistent and that kind of thing is really important. But then it's the quality of content of the video. Like when you're first starting out, the audio quality, the video quality, like try not to make it an eye or ear sore, but as long as you're producing content consistently and it's of quality, you know what you're talking about, you have a central theme for the video you're doing, like I think that's all really important. And then once you get established, once you can do it consistently, then I would say worry about the audio quality, worry about the video quality, and then improve the things from there. But consistency and having interesting content, I think is really important.
Cool.
I think one thing that this game has too that separates it from a lot of other games is you don't really see a lot of like big names or people that place really high in tournaments kind of like dedicate their time to YouTube. And one thing about DBS is a lot of the content creators are pretty respected like names when it comes to tournament placings.
Yeah, that is a really interesting point that I've noticed as well. Like I still watch Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers because I want to keep up with the game, with the meta, and I do take some of the stuff that they do and I try to adopt that if I like what they're doing, right? So yeah, like it's so funny when a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber tops an event, it's like a miracle. It's like this,
exactly, right?
It's like this big crazy thing.
Mm. Is that really how it is?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, it's so rare for like Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers to top. Like they do have good theory, they know what they're talking about, but like putting it into practice, and I think that also has to do with more how that game works. Like I don't necessarily think player skill always shines out in Yu-Gi-Oh, so that could be a part of it too. But yeah, like when a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber tops, it's like a big thing. They milk it hard.
Oh,
big time.
That's just one thing I love about DBS.
It, that'll be it, but they'll milk it for a long time.
But I just think that's the cool thing about DBS is that if you're like a new player or whatever, and you go onto YouTube, like you can guarantee to find like quality content or something that you can actually like learn from.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the quality of content creators in DBS is like super high in terms of like the information you gain out of it. Because like I've gone and looked at some Magic videos and stuff, and they're fun, but they're definitely, you're not like learning the game and getting all the deepest in. Like if I was to go try to learn Magic, maybe it does exist out there, I just haven't found that kind of stuff.
Well, the thing with Magic is a lot of their stuff is because the game is so established and they're just so like they're always going to have a big player group, right? Because they're like the first big game. They just do everything on such a big scale. So a lot of the big names in like Magic are already like hidden behind paywalls because they're picked up by these big companies that they work for. So a lot of their content is, I mean, they do have free content, but a lot of the really like juicy stuff is hidden behind paywalls in Magic.
Yeah, there's that, and also Magic has a huge casual base. Like, I kind of feel like everyone in Dragon Ball is like low key competitive. Like it's kind of weird. Like, you have tons of people showing up to play Commander for Magic locals. Like we'll have like a 10-man Dragon Ball local, and next to us will be like a 25-man Magic local. So I feel like their casual base is really big, where that's like where their free content, like the Professor, like Tulare Community College, kind of appeals to, and his production quality is super high. But he's like a 500,000 subscriber channel, so kind of scales up, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. In our area, most people are casual. Like, I don't know. Well, we have like our group that's competitive, but like a lot of people are pretty casual. So I don't know.
Yeah, they fluctuate though. Like you can tell
they want to get better.
Yeah, they want to get better. But they do approach it more casually.
Yeah.
Than we do.
It's also like Magic's been around for so long, and there's just such an expansive like card pool.
Yeah.
That there's so much room for all these different game types, right?
Yeah, like Commander, Singleton, Modern, Standard. Yeah.
I wonder if like DBS isn't really big enough yet, but it would be nice to see a second kind of more fun format emerge that people could play.
But you also look at the casual formats for Magic, even something like Commander, they're still like expensive.
Oh, they can be.
Yeah. And so it's like they may be more like a casual type of game, but like they're still dedicating a lot of like resources
you can
to play
still
it.
apply the flex.
Get that 100 card foiled out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
what I just learned though? Like apparently Commander and Magic is a completely fan-made format, which I didn't know that. Like there's a rules committee, which I guess is like it's a bunch of not people that aren't related to Wizards of the Coast, their own committee, and I thought that was really cool. Like and I think that can happen in this game too. Like I've been kind of thinking about like a tag team format that could have some unique dynamics. But I gotta like flesh it out a lot more before I kind of talk about it. But
which is insane.
I think it can be done. I think it can be done for sure.
It's insane when you think about it, because like Magic actually does like produce like Commander product.
Yeah.
So it's like the fans were so influential that the company just like created product for them.
It's really cool.
I was gonna say I've been building a cube, as you guys we put a video up and stuff like that, and I've been trying to come up with some custom rules to it and that kind of thing. And I want to try. I'm doing the same thing, trying to think of a 2v2 type format that could work for.
I wonder if there's something we could think of that's like more the normal game, like less crazy rules, but like has slightly different things. Like I think a Singleton style thing where you can only play one of each card in the deck.
Yeah,
like we're getting up with the number of cards in the pool.
I think you can do it. You can do it pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, especially like with a red deck, for sure you could do it. With a blue deck, you for sure could do it. A little tougher.
I think every color could do it, probably. Yeah. I think green would maybe struggle the most, but I think you could do it.
Yeah, there's just so many cards that kind of need a chain of things, and you swap into something or you evolve on this dude, and if it's like so specific, it's a little tricky.
It's a lot of generic stuff now, in my opinion. But
well, I mean, after the new draft box, it's like it's just a boatload of generic good stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
That none of us will get.
not in our area.
All right. So I guess on the next subject, I wanted to bring up the Unison Cards, which is coming up in set 10. This is probably the biggest change the game is going to see in terms of like since Overrealm, probably in terms of a like mechanic change, anyways, of how the game is played. It's a whole nother factor. I guess multicolor is kind of, and Arrival was pretty big too. But to me,
Overrealm was definitely the first like huge shake.
Yeah, it made another space on your board you had to worry about.
Two cards that came out that were like completely influential for a very long time, right?
Yeah. So I mean, so I've looked at the two they've announced. One of them is like a pseudo Fearless Pan effect that like gives everything double strike and plus 5k or something. And the other one, oh my god, I can't remember.
I remember the Go Tanks. That's all I remember.
Yeah, so the Vegeta, I kind of remember what it did. So the Vegeta was like -1 marker. Your opponent can't play battle cards greater than their energy cost, something like that. And then the other one was like -4 markers. Give this card plus 5k, dual attack, double strike, I believe is what it did.
Can we explain how Unison works?
Well,
how they get counters?
That first ability just seems very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
from preventing your opponent from cheating guys in is
that just shuts off all like successor decks.
Yeah.
A lot of like baby. I mean, if you can get it out early enough, right?
I don't know if they've fully outlined how it's all going to work yet, right? They've just kind of shown the cards and said it's a thing. Like,
they've shown some of the stuff, like how to get counters. So, for example, all the Unison cards have an X cost, and you choose how much energy you want to pay for that, and then the amount of energy you paid for it is how many markers it has. But there are still questions I have, like, can you Denial of Hope these things? Can you Vegeta the Cruel them? So I've heard they aren't considered battle cards. So with that logic, it seems like you wouldn't be able to like do that kind of stuff.
Invincible.
But
they have power, don't they?
They do have power, yes.
So you can attack with them?
I think Denial of Hope says like specifically battle card. I could be wrong, but I think it does.
Probably. It probably does.
Yeah.
Something like that. I just wonder, like, can I counterplay it? Can I play Champa?
Yeah. But it's gonna be interesting if it says like Unison like battle card or something like that, because then it kind of the same thing as like Surge Leaders, right? Where people are like, can you heartfelt plea over like a Surge Awakening? And they're like, well, yeah, it's still Awakening even though it says Surge. So if it was like Unison battle card, something like that, then you should still be able to like Denial of Hope.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just look up Denial too, and it specifically does say battle card, and I thought I read somewhere that Unison cards aren't going to be considered battle cards, so it might not work. But like it gets interesting because if you can, like Vegeta the Cruel them, then it comes up where like, oh, if I pay 4 energy to make this a 4 marker card, maybe I can then Vegeta the Cruel it. But if I pay 5 energy, then maybe I can't Vegeta the Cruel it because maybe it's considered a 5 drop. But maybe the markers don't consider it a certain drop, so it gets weird,
That'd be a cool interaction though.
So you never.
It would be pretty cool because you can outplay things like Vegeta the Cruel then, instead of like just saying like, oh, you always get hit by Vegeta the Cruel or you never get hit by Vegeta the Cruel. It'd be cool if you could pay 5 to dodge it.
I think that'd be really cool.
And I'm wondering how many have they said it. You only get to run 1 copy of the Unison guy, or
no? Actually, I haven't seen that. They did talk about that too. So you can run 4 copies, and then if you like, so let's say you play the Vegeta Unison guy right in your Unison area, and then you have another copy of that Vegeta in your hand. You can put that Vegeta under the Vegeta you have in play, and it'll give him an additional marker.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, so you just
I see what
stack
happens.
it under it, and it gains 1 marker.
From what I remember reading, I believe that's how it works. Yeah, you either put it under or you put it in the drop area, and then you give them another marker.
That's cool.
It's a really interesting thing too, because like they don't have combo power. People have to remember, so it's almost like running extra cards, right? Like it's almost like running a high number of extra cards where they have a potential to brick, but I guess they give you the ability to give extra markers, so a little bit less bricky. But that is going to pick at your hand size too.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that does. I mean, it's definitely going to affect the game in a big way. I mean, giving your whole board double strike seems good
for sure. Yep.
for no extra energy on like the next turn. I'm gonna need to do a little more. They need to outline that a little bit better all the way.
Yeah, got a few months though.
Yeah, next set they will.
Better.
Yeah. Can you run more than 1, or you have to pick 1? You can run a maximum of 4.
I don't think they've specifically addressed that yet, but I would imagine that you can play as many as you want in your deck, and then like if you just pay the cost for a new one, it would replace the old one, maybe like a field card kind of thing.
Interesting.
I mean, you also have to be careful, right?
I don't know that, but I kind of think that might be how it would work.
Yeah. Well, because I know like in Magic with the Planeswalkers, you can have like multiple. You can make a Planeswalker focused deck that plays a bunch of those. I wonder if they'll go off.
Do they replace each other? Or
I don't think so.
Like playing
in Magic,
a new one?
In Magic, you can only have like. I'm pretty sure you can only have, from what I remember, it's been so long since I played Magic, but you can only have like one of like a certain one, but you can have like multiple Planeswalkers as long as they're different on the board. But it's like if you have like there's like an Ajani, right? You can't have like if it's the same Ajani, or it might even be like different Ajanis. Like if it's the same character, like you can only have one of that character on board.
Yeah,
gotcha.
We should probably stop.
They have that in Naruto. What's it called? I forget what it's called.
In Naruto,
diversity thing, or in Naruto they had like you can't control multiple Narutos, you can't control multiple Sasuke's. Like you can only control one of each character.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
and that's like a game mechanic.
That's a game I've never seen.
People thought Chrono Clash was that way when it first came out for some reason. So I don't know. I'm just saying.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I wonder also if do you think anyone's going to play more than 50 cards?
I think like I did the math on it, and like 51, 52, you're not hurting your percentages that much. And in Dragon Ball we draw so much, so I really don't think it's that bad of a factor to do that, to like run 51, 52. The only reason I would see people run 60 is if like there was like a mill deck that had a ultra consistent mill. Like if your leader was the mill engine, then maybe 60 cards would be appropriate. And then maybe if like Janemba was tier 0, 60 cards would be appropriate. But I think people will play like 51, 52 for a while, and back and forth.
I think it just depends on the deck at the end of the day. Like if you're a Piccolo deck where you just get to cycle through your deck for free every single turn, you don't really care, right? If you're a deck like the U7 Surge deck where you want to open up with the TOP arena or a way to search it, maybe you don't run more than 50 because then you're just decreasing your chances of opening up with the one card that you really want to open up with, right?
Yep.
I think I'm showing up to the first tournament. After that's a thing, I'm playing Pan with 60 cards in it, and every single card is going to be different.
It sounds like it's going to revolutionize the meta, dude.
See, I just go back to my Yu-Gi-Oh days where I'm just like, I want to play the bare minimum because anything more than that just feels wrong. It feels like a brick in your hand.
I don't know.
The logic there was why would you play 41, 42 when you could just play the 40 best cards you could possibly play?
That's right.
Exactly.
I watch people play 41 with one upstart in it.
Oh my god, that was the dumbest thing ever. It's like, oh, it's an easy side out card. It's like, that's so stupid.
You're like, stop.
But I love writing deck lists that are 6 pages long.
Oh yeah,
it's the best. That's one of my personal dreams of the tournament is to top with a deck list that's like
way too long.
Yeah. So that you and Android and Eggman have to go through those meta deck lists, and you just go, what the fuck is this thing?
luckily, I don't actually go through deck lists.
Oh, you don't?
I'll be all right.
Okay, well, we'll make Android do it.
You're safe.
I save myself a little bit of time and just talk about the decks as a concept.
I like
probably
that.
better.
Maybe I'm a slacker for that. I don't know.
No way. Sounds easier.
It's nice.
Definitely easier.
I prefer deck theory and concepts versus anything else. So that's just me.
The lists are kind of nice to see though, because you see like the variations, especially if like a bunch of different decks topped. You see like the slight variations and why they might have done stuff. But
like I said, I'd like to. Instead of just looking at lists, like I'd like to break down like theory of like why did they play X cards, and I would have to dig into them too far than just look at a list and move on.
Yeah, I'll take a deck. Like if someone played like a crazy tech in like Surge Goku, I'll talk about the tech. But I won't. Yeah, I usually won't break down like a full deck list. It just takes too long. Like if the video is 20, 30 minutes, people just don't watch it.
Yep.
True. It's funny because like you always get those people, if your video is too long, they're just like, well, I just want the deck list. I just want you to spit it out. But then if you spit it out, then you get the people that are like, well, I want you to have like a more in-depth conversation and tell me your reasoning for each card. You know?
It's the never-ending story of YouTube comments.
Right?
It's just one after another of like people disagreeing with what they want.
Yeah. Eventually,
you just gotta do what you enjoy.
Exactly. Eventually, you just hit that point where you're just like, I don't care anymore. We just say whatever you want, which I feel like where we are at with this channel. We just say whatever we want to say.
That's when I shadow ban you from the account.
Right?
No more comments for you.
I've done that on a couple people. Just like
you have.
Because this post nothing but like
they spit a name.
I don't. It's just random YouTube names, but it's always just like there's just like random mean comments that have no like.
Who is that dude that like used to get into it with me in our comment section?
I don't know.
Is he one of the shadow ban people?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think he plays anymore.
I just remember that.
Every video.
Video.
Yeah, I remember that too. You used to just it's like Russell, stop.
I
mean, thank you for the activity on the video, but like stop. You don't need to argue with that guy. Oh, it's so good. All right, so with the new Draft Box 5 coming out soon, then we've got a bunch of new starter decks and Draft Box 10. What stuff are you looking forward to, Joey? What any new leaders, any new archetypes, anything?
Dude, I'm looking very forward to Draft Box 5. It's such a shame how like it. I don't want to fall into the hype, but people are saying it could be short printed. Stores are saying they're not getting their full shipment, and I think sometimes they're throwing a little bit of shade at Bandai that's not deserved. From my understanding, there were some ordering mistakes that stores made as well. So I don't want to throw blame at anyone, but I just want people not to get the wrong idea. I don't think it's 100% Bandai's fault. I think there's blame to be spread around with that. Just to address that quick. I'm super excited for Draft Box 5. I am super excited for the Universe 9 stuff. The dogs just look super cool to me. It like design wise and what the cards do. And set 10 is looking really cool. I mean, I'm super excited for SS4 Gogeta. That's like one of my favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball. You know, I'll rep GT till I die, even though people hate that stuff. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for all of it. I just love getting new cards and messing around with new decks.
Yep.
Is the SS4 Gogeta, is that, did they say that's the secret rare? Is that what I saw? They just showed the art.
They said it's going to be the secret rare.
So they've gone from banning people from showing secret rares like 2 days early to like, oh, here's the art.
Yeah,
6 months in advance.
Yep, here you go. Show it. Show it.
Oh, they're so random with what they want to show. But maybe they'll get people to pre-order early enough that it won't be so limited stock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know the thing is too though that you can tell they're still figuring it out. You know, they are a young dev team, which I think is awesome because they actually give a crap. You know what I mean? And they're still learning. You know, like with Draftbox 5, I don't think they had to do all new cards. I think they could have still done reprints, but like they could have downgraded the rarity of the reprints because it felt so bad to buy Draftbox 4 and then you pull these dope SRs like UI Goku, Raiders Warcry, stuff like that, but then you pull Godbreak Son Goku, like that just that was defeating. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you made Godbreak a common or uncommon or a rare, like it wouldn't have felt as bad. You know?
Yeah. I will say the only Draftbox 4 packs that I opened was a split box between me and John, and it was probably like the best box you could have opened.
Fire.
It was
whoa. That box that we had here that we filmed from mine.
That was pretty good too. But
in my half of the box alone, I opened up 3 topos. One was foil. God.
That's my half of the box. Dude. Everyone always just pulls like 1 or 2 if you're lucky.
Our SRs were like UI Goku, Piccolo, Gohan when he was like over $30. That was right after I topped.
Yeah, I think we pulled either a Trunks or the black Goku. One of those two was in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good box.
We pulled like a ton of the dual color rares.
Should have been my whole box too. You're lucky I agreed to split.
That's
right.
When you did beat me,
dude. That's why I don't like to split boxes with people. I'm gonna feel so bad if you pull the secret rare, if you pull like the broken card. It's like I can't split it with you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Russell gave me
every time John wins at local, I always pull like the heat. Like he won a locals where it was like a box tournament.
Yep.
And I ended up getting like 4 packs, and I pulled the SS4 Vegeta when he was like $200.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I opened the whole box and got jack shit.
Yeah, feels good.
It's terrible.
John has a history of pulling bad cards. Just putting that out there.
It's whatever, dude.
That's rough.
I get mine.
I mean, you bought the draft box that you brought to my house and opened.
Oh, that was the worst.
He literally had a common topo was the only card out of that box worth keeping. He could have burned the rest of it. I remember that.
That was right before the Dallas LCQ.
Yeah, when you were flying.
Like, and I was like, all I want is this new mirror card and the remote serious bomb so I can have it in my sideboard.
If you go back and look at those cards though, like blue Roshi Negate is like $4 right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just for the non-foil.
Yeah.
It's heat.
Everything in Draftbox 4 is juice, dude. Everything.
I do that. So one of the things I do is I'll go every week or two, I'll go on TCG Player and I'll go show me all the SPRs, sort by low to high price. Anything drops down low, just buy it to get my play sets.
Yeah.
I've got much stuff for like 25 cents a piece.
Nothing.
And then it like shoots up to like $12.
Mm-hmm.
Did the same.
You know what I did too? Yeah, like it's really like, helpful to like do that kind of stuff because like when Piccolo Arena Wrecker first came out in the what was that called, the Power Booster, like I was like, this card's gonna be broken one day. Yep. Absolutely snapped in half.
Yep.
And it was 10 cents. I bought 30 of them, and they went up to $5 a piece for a while, and that was pretty dope.
Pretty dope.
There you go. Cash in.
Yeah, as soon as the TOP Arena was announced, I went straight on a TCG Player and bought those Arena Wreckers.
Oh.
But it's like a card like that. Like there was no relevant field card in the game at that point, except for like Planet Vegeta. But like you don't care if Planet Vegeta sticks around or not. But like one day there's gonna be a broken field card, and then you're gonna be like, oh, Piccolo's gonna be a great side deck. You just like kind of foresee that if you have some amount of experience,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember at TOP I played a guy playing U7 Surge, and he puts down the field card. Then he like discards 2 of the field cards for whatever effect he was doing, and he charges one. I just pop it.
You
and
poor
goes,
sucker.
He goes, oh, damn it.
Wait, you had it in the main deck, or was that game 2?
Game 2, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's like some Brian Samuel like Nationals like tech if you main deck it.
Rip.
The one Borgos, the one Gogeta 7.
He is wild with the deck building.
The one Piccolo.
He builds his decks like they're post sideboard. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. supposedly that was his thing in Naruto as well, just like straight 1-ofs in the main deck, like
yeah,
no matter what.
I mean, you draw enough that it's like just charges his energy if you don't need it that game.
Coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, that's like a cardinal sin. I need to like see my cards, and so it's really hard to get away.
But you
from
see
the
in
Yu-Gi-Oh.
any card game, like even in Yu-Gi-Oh, every once in a while you see that like a deck that like do really well, and they're like, man, he just like ran like this sideboard card in his main deck, and it's like obviously it comes down to if you see that matchup, right? Like he played enough of those matchups that he wanted that card in for it to be good, right? But on the other spectrum, he could go to the next big event, main deck those cards, and then not see any of those good matchups, and then you're like, well, this was just dead.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you only really hear about it when it does well, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else? Russell, we haven't talked to you about really Draftbox 5s that much. Is there anything you're really looking forward to, Mr. Hand Destruction Hatchiak?
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about like the rebrand. Like, obviously, rebrand's cool. I love Hand Destruction, but I'm not like the biggest like fan of the way Piccolo is, just because Piccolo it's very like one dimensional in the Hand Destruction aspect of what it does. Where like decks like my favorite Hand Destruction deck, or like the one that I had the most success with was Toa. Obviously, I love Super 17, but like Toa. They banned my cards right after I topped with it. So Toa was like the one deck I really got to play a lot with. And the cool thing about Toa was like it had so many different ways you could play the deck. You know, you could like bum rush somebody down, or you could sit back and play the control game and just roast their hand. So I kind of liked that aspect of the deck where Piccolo feels a lot more one-dimensional in what it does. So I'm not the biggest fan of that deck, but obviously I do love my Hatchiak, and there's a lot of great black support coming out for it. So I'm really excited for that because I think the deck gets a much needed boost from Draftbox 5, and it also got a lot of really good cards from set 9. So I think now that you just like have all that in tandem, I think the deck is very, very solid and something you should be prepared for going into a major event.
I hate it.
I hate Hatch so much. I hate it.
Every time Russell tests with us, he's just like, oh, I'm going to play Hatch. And we're like, well, you can leave my house.
I mean, the deck is like Surge Coup is probably the most popular deck right now. It's just very, it's the most well-rounded, most generic leader in the game. And Hatch just has a solid Surge Coup matchup because Surge Coup is very good at just being efficient and just like doing what it does, but it has a hard time just killing Hatch. Hatch is just so good at surviving like everything it does, especially come this next set. Like you have more tools to play defense with, more tools to like just keep a high hand total. So it was already like a good Surge Coup matchup, and now it's just kind of like even better. And I think you look at like the U7 Surge decks, which are really popular right now. Like obviously going to Florida, a lot of the Florida people like playing that. And people look at all these black decks, especially Hatch, and they think that, you know, Black Smoke is just like the natural best SCR to play with decks like that right now. But Demigra is like heavily looked past because the one thing about the U7 Surge decks is like they can Royal Condemnation your Black Smoke. They can't Royal Condemnation your Demigra. And so Demigra just gets to stick in that deck, and you just get to swing with it, which is pretty sweet because then you get to look at their hand, just take anything out of there. Like you just get to take like win conditions out of their hand, right?
They have like no removal, do they?
I mean, they can remove it, right? Like if they have like multiple of the Death Beam or whatever, they can KO it. You got to look at their hand and be like, okay, any of your like win conditions, I'm just gonna take it out of your deck now.
Go ahead and Death Beam it now.
Seems great. And their hand size generally isn't like huge in that deck. It's moderate
Depending on how you build it, it can be like the deck does have like decent drop power, especially once you start getting like the guys and drop that remove themselves and you're stacking your deck with the arena. But yeah, overall, I think Hatch is amazing. I think it's the best mono black deck going to post Draftbox 5, and I'm very excited for it.
Disgusting.
Ban Hatch.
Yeah. Alex really hates Hatch.
Can't stand
and Janemba. Just anything that's not mid-range, Alex is like...
Strap the helmet on real tight.
Mid-range, best range, dude.
Yeah, mid-range is definitely the most fun in terms of playing the
control.
game.
It's like playing... You actually get to play the game when you play mid-range.
I love control. I just like being able to just, as the game goes on, the longer it favors you, and you just slowly get to like see all hope drained from your opponent. Yep. I love that feeling. I love it.
This is my teammate? What?
He's evil. Who are you? He's got a secret dark side.
I do.
All right. The other big news in the DBS community right now, besides all the draft box hubbub, is the fact that, and I'm sorry that I released, or that Alex posted the meme I made about coronavirus putting up the peace sign over
the grave of the season.
Yeah. But the fact that the coronavirus is probably killing the regional season for at least a little, like everything I see in the news, it's going to be a while. So
yeah,
I'm wondering if you guys have any thoughts around how it's going to affect like Nats, Worlds. Like, are we even going to have any of that this year? Are we going to?
It's going to be there.
Like, maybe. And what about card prices and things? Now that, you know, all these champ pack cards, they're not even, no one's going to have them, but no one really needs them because they're not going to be playing in events. Or like, is it going to affect the secondary market? Or are people going to be stuck with stuff they don't want? Is it time to buy? Time to sell?
It's such, dude, like card games and like the card market on like TCG player and stuff, it really is like the stock market. And we're seeing some stuff happen on the stock market in the grander scheme of things. I'm not a politician or a stock market expert, so I'm not going to talk to that. But like, yeah, like card prices could really plummet because there aren't going to be too many major competitive tournaments, and it could be a good time to buy in. And it really sucks because, yeah, like this was a year we were supposed to have Worlds for the first time, so that could get halted. I mean, we have no idea how far into the future this coronavirus stuff is going to affect us. Like, it's almost definitely going to be for the next like few months. Hopefully at least 6 months from now, it's kind of quelling down. But I mean, time will tell. But yeah, I mean, as far as like Worlds and Nats goes, man, it's pretty rough. Like I heard someone talking about like there could be kind of like a impromptu way that Bandai could just host like let stores have mini regionals, and then you could get invites from that, and that could work out. Like, I mean, if by the time October rolls around, like we're all good to go, we're all allowed to get out of our houses and stuff. Like, if Nats is allowed to happen, then like people will have invites, and that'll be pretty dope. They could have an open Nats, which that could be pretty problematic on its own. Like if 2,000 people showed up, that could be weird. But there's a few ways they can handle it, and I'm pretty confident they'll figure it out.
Yeah, hopefully it's late enough in the year that everything will blow over. But it's gonna be rough for the ones they have scheduled. Like, we were pretty excited for the San Jose one just because it's super close to us and a good time. We have all our invites, but
I think that does put a bigger light on like other tournament organizers and like the tournaments they're trying to do. Like Daylon Mack is still doing his tournaments. Like, he has Orlando coming up. He's talked a little bit about his next big one after World Martial Arts, which is the Cell Games. I don't think he's disclosed like dates yet or like where it's going to be.
I think he said sometime in June, but hasn't given specifics.
Okay.
So like he still has his other thing. I've also, I've talked to other like big brands in the game that have talked about starting up their own circuit, like kind of like what ARG did and having their circuit series. And I know that one is like pretty much set in stone to like start this summer. So there's still a lot to look forward to, even though like the official Bandai tournaments are kind of like on halt right now, as every card game sporting event, pretty much anything you could possibly travel to is shut down right now. But there are the people that are trekking through the coronavirus and saying if you're strong-willed enough to come.
Hey, shout out to that dude that was on stream wearing the surgical gloves.
Right.
It's my dream. Show up to the event in like full-on hazmat suit and don't touch me. Perfect. I don't know much about the Daylon tournament. You know more about that, Russell?
Which one? The one
coming up,
yeah.
If it's the one chance people have to go to something,
mm-hmm.
if everything else is canceled, mm-hmm. tell us a little bit about it.
I mean, it's still similar to like TOP, a little bit smaller scale as far as like pricing goes, but it's still cash pricing. Still a lot of money to be won, and just another chance for people to come and watch a quality stream and mm-hmm. see good gameplay with good players.
Yeah, it's gonna be the first and possibly only, sadly, DB5 format tournament. Like it's the weekend of DB5's release, and they're hosting like I think on that Thursday and Friday, they're doing a ton of like DB5 events so that people can get the cards at that shop, because it is a tournament being held at a shop in Florida at Gamers R Us, I believe. So yeah, they're hosting a lot of DB5 tournaments so that people can get the cards, and then Saturday, Sunday, play Swiss, play Top Cut, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm really interested to see if Bandai. I wouldn't be surprised if Set 10's release date got pushed back.
It's possible.
Could be, yeah.
Because
I think it's June, right?
Yeah, depending on how this whole Corona thing keeps extending and events just keep getting pushed back, if we're looking at a point where there won't be any regionals at all between Set 10 and Set 11, I wouldn't be surprised to see either Set 10 or Set 11 get pushed back in release date.
I would be highly surprised if the dates move. That's just me.
I agree. I'd be pretty surprised too, but it would finally shut up all those people that are like, oh man, they release product way too fast. Which I have to say, like, they have merit. They have a point there, but like, it's actually interesting. I've compared it to like Yu-Gi-Oh release dates, and Yu-Gi-Oh generally does also release some type of product per month. Sometimes they have off months, but like they do generally release something per month. But the funny thing is, in Yu-Gi-Oh, at least for the past like year or 2 years, their side sets, like how we've had like TOP and we've had like Clash of Fates, their side sets are generally less meta impacting, which like every time we get a new set, it's generally pretty heavy influencing on the meta. So I think that's the main difference there that people aren't taking into an account. But yeah, it is it's pretty interesting to think about.
What I was going to say about Yu-Gi-Oh, and just in my experience with it, is multiple sets can come out and not affect the meta at all. You chase one card out of the entire set to add to your side deck, and that's about it. Or add to your main, and that just never. So I don't know. You get multiple product releases that don't affect the meta in the slightest, and like you said,
which I like. Granted, I don't think that's a good thing.
No,
I don't think that's a good thing. On like, I think one thing, I think Pokemon has a really good formula for like their sets. Like the one thing about Pokemon is like it's a relatively cheap game for being a big three. It's a relatively cheap game to get into. It's kind of like buying into it. You might have to drop a lot of money at first, but once you kind of have like your staples kind of fit into most decks. So it's like when a set comes out, you just kind of like, if you want to build a new deck, you just kind of have to buy like their core, which may not be a lot of cards, and it's probably going to cost you like $40-$50, and then you already have like, then you can just start playing a bunch of different decks, right? And so you're only buying that core, but there's a bunch of different cores within that set that make up good decks, and so I think formulas like that are really good. Like I think Yu-Gi-Oh's formulas like is not good. Right? Like it like you're gonna have people that buy product no matter what, right? But when you have one set that has like just a couple of cards and everything else is just filler trash, like it's just
99% of a set. 99.
It's not a good. I mean, that's not good.
I mean, it's not good for card sales either, right? Like, why would I buy it?
No, they still sell.
I mean, they're still going to sell, right?
They do still sell though, because they have such a crazy casual market. Like Valkyrie was like this anime archetype that came out. Like people were asking for it forever. They finally printed it. Had absolutely zero impact on the meta, but like the one secret rare for the deck was like $40 because they have that casual drive, which is crazy. Which is why I said like I think everyone in Dragon Ball is like low key competitive, because it's really funny. Like every deck in Dragon Ball is technically good. Obviously there are tiers to it, but like Demigra still a really powerful deck that you could top a regional with. You know what I mean? Like it's not Surge Goku or Piccolo, but every deck for the most part is generally decent until you get to like Dr. Mew, and I lost Dr. Mew regional, but like you see my point.
Really hating on Dr. Mew today.
I think it's different when you talking about like casual and competitive in DBS, because the big difference between DBS and a game like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh is Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh have a humongous kid scene, and that's where a lot of your sales come from. Because kids will always want to open up packs, because most kids don't understand what is good and what is not, right? They open up a pack and they see a card that they saw on the show and they're like, oh my God, like I love this card, even though it's like hot garbage, right? So you always have like parents coming in and buying their kids packs, birthdays, Christmas, any holidays. Packs are always going to be flowing in those games because of the kids. And that's one thing where DBS is definitely lacking, that if we want to see the growth, eventually we have to appeal more to kids, right? Because kids are the casual base that keep a lot of card games afloat.
Yeah,
absolutely, dude. Like people call trading card games, children's card games all the time, but we are an old man's card game.
We are a very old man's card game.
Quite so.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about exactly what you've been talking about. Like I saw one time, I think in the past few months, PPG did like a local thing at their library where they were teaching kids how to play Dragon Ball, and I thought that was a really cool idea. Like I want to see if I can do that here in Boston, and yeah, any ways we can like reach out to kids, like I don't know, like YMCA's, teach them how to play, because like just in my opinion, like I'm sure a lot of you guys probably share this sentiment. Trading card games are an excellent hobby to have, like social interaction. You're exercising your mind constantly. You're working in strategic ways. You're dealing with competition, which is a huge part of the real world. Like a hobby like trading card games is like chess. Like it's a really good mental exercise. I wish more people would get into.
I was gonna say, as far as card games and trading card games goes, like you can approach it from the actual just purely game aspect and like the game of chess, or you can approach it as the trading card version of it, and you can trade and essentially, like you said, trade stocks and stuff like that, and try to build your collection.
Like collector. Yeah,
and you can approach it from a financial aspect, or you can approach it from a game aspect, and it's really cool that there's this huge variety of the game.
Well, at least now we're seeing card prices and stuff. Like actually collecting cards is kind of worthwhile now if you want to like hold them for value. Yeah, at least a little bit, but I don't know. It's also the nature of the IP. Like it's a very aggressive property, right? It's buff dudes fighting and powering up and blowing up planets and killing each other, coming back to life and abandoning their children. So like, I mean, I get why everyone's super competitive because the IP is super competitive. It's literally the whole like the plot of the story is he just wants to fight people. It's probably one of the reasons why the Facebook groups are so combative at times is just because that's the kind of mindset you bring to it.
I will say, as someone who came from Yu-Gi-Oh into DBS, like as far as you can say whatever you want about online communities, most online communities are going to be trash no matter like what your hobby is. But as far as like in-person communities, like DBS has been like the most fun community that I've been part of. Like as far as going to events, like Yu-Gi-Oh was like really good in the beginning, and just like as the years went on, like the in-person community in Yu-Gi-Oh has just gone straight down the toilet. So like as far as like a card game goes, like this would be such a good card game for like kids to be able to go to events and enjoy, because for the most part, at least all the people that I hang out with are always so like friendly and welcoming and helpful, especially for like a newer player base. If parents were to come to events with like their kids, like I know any of us and like anybody on like on my team, like Shenron's Lair, like would be more than willing to help out like families and their kids and whatnot learn the game.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like my experience with Yu-Gi-Oh is the same thing. Like it was very, very cliquey in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like we would go to the local regionals, see people that we've seen all the time and never talk to them. Like it was so weird. But once you go to a Dragon Ball event, like it is very, very inclusive. It's very, very friendly, and I think that's one of the pros of being a quote unquote old man's game. Everyone is just very chill. Like as competitive as everyone is, everyone's very chill.
Yeah, it's definitely a fairly mature atmosphere. It can be anyways.
Yes.
Most of the time.
I mean, I quit Yu-Gi-Oh because of that toxic awfulness that Yu-Gi-Oh is and the players that it brings to it. That's why I quit in the first place. So I don't know. I think it's a complete paradigm to what it is now.
Well, I mean,
and the barrier to entry, man. You got to worry about a deck, and you got to have a pair of Yeezys to play Pokemon.
I know.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
You got to have a vape. You got to have Yeezys.
18 different summoning mechanics.
Yeah, you need like Supreme stickers on everything.
Yeah.
At least in Seattle, you do. You have to have Yeezys.
Sure.
John didn't believe me when I told him.
I just thought when we the not this Las Vegas tournament, the last one at the Alexis, when I think it was me and you, Russell, that walked out of the event.
Oh yes.
And
my God.
We literally walked through like 8 dudes that were like 3 of them had 2 liters of Mountain Dew. They're all just like chief in the vapes, real tough. All in Yeezys, all in like it's just like those are Yu-Gi-Oh players.
It was literally just like one. It was a giant meme. We walked through a giant meme.
It was hilarious. It's like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
We joke about this, but it's definitely real. Oh, that's so good. All right, so we got a bunch of call-ins, but none of them are good. Come on, guys. Come on, Ken. I know you're waiting for this video, and you send me that garbage call-in. Come on, dude.
Step it up.
Yeah. So we're gonna play one, and we're gonna get your reaction to it. This could be better.
Who's it from?
It's from Shenron Slayer. It's like is that your guys' metal band?
Yeah.
You starting a metal band?
It's an inside joke.
Boys.
So, oh my god,
that's all we got. I'm sorry, Joey. We couldn't come with more. Who is that?
That is definitely Marcus Cantarsi, the biggest troll on Shenron's Lair. no, that's a mirror without a shadow of a doubt, dude. That's a mirror.
Oh,
God. It's funny because yesterday John texted me and he goes, "We got a call in from the Shenron Slayer." And I was like, "That's definitely someone on my team." I was like, "I can promise you that it's Amir," because he's like the only person that like will mention that in chat like every single day.
It's prophecy, man. Shenron Slayer is on the inside, ready to take us all down.
Right?
Is that what it is? Turncoats?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a prophecy. It's a self-proclaimed prophecy by Amir and Amir only.
All right. Well, that's the end of the topics I have. Do you have any questions for us or anything? Is there anything you want to talk about, Joey?
I think you guys hit all the nails on the head, man. We hit all the current news going on in the community. You guys definitely shelled out the compliments to me. That was pretty awesome. But besides that, no, I mean, I think we hit all the nails on the head. I really appreciate you guys having me on here. It was really dope to do this.
Cool. Well, where can everyone find you on social media? And you have the Patreon. Is it all Cross Worlds TCG or?
Yep. So yeah, youtube.com/Cross Worlds TCG, patreon.com/Cross Worlds TCG. If you want to help step your game up. I don't do Twitter. I hate Twitter. I think it's super toxic. I do have Facebook. There's a Facebook page, Cross Worlds TCG. So you guys can check all those things out. If you wouldn't mind dropping them in the description, that'd be dope too.
Of course. Is there DBS Twitter? Is that a thing? Do people do that?
I don't think so.
I remember No Counters, No Combos was doing it.
Okay.
And it's a good practice, like to be on just every social media. But I think
Twitter
like
I got an account. I like reserved the name, but I've never used it.
I have not touched Twitter since college.
I know Eggman does Twitter. I've seen his stuff on there, but I just wonder. It's like I have the Instagram account I post stuff to, and that gets a little bit of love on there.
I don't even think I follow it. Instagram.
It's just stupid random pictures, but it's whatever. All right, well, that's the end of the show. Uh-oh, I played both the musics.
Oh my god, what are you doing?
I'm fucking it up, dude. All right, well, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and make sure to check Joey out. So, thanks for watching.
Peace.
We up out of here.
Out of here.